Yay, and we're live. Hi, Trish Jenkins here. It's great to see you. And I'm just going to go into my author page and share it to my personal page. So bear with me. That way I get to, there we are. Beautiful. So we're going to go share. And we will now be, says friends. Okay. Excellent. We can do this. We can have this going on. Yay. Hello, who's there? Somebody watching. You don't have to tell me if you're a bit shy. That's okay. I've got that set to friends because that was my last post. So I'm going to make that public. And we're good to go. Hey. All right then. So we're going to continue the letter from, and thank you for the like. Feel free to say g'day. We're continuing the letter that I wrote on the 7th of March 2009, my 9th letter, and the last story was about the young lady who did the laundry who kept messing it up, and I wanted to pray for her to do a better job of the laundry when I ended up praying for her regarding her children, and that turned my priorities around. So much of what we think about is about how it affects us, isn't it? All right, so where did we get up to? Yes, and when we did pray, I said that the irritation in the unit simply dissolved. Those women didn't know what we'd prayed about, but the irritation dissolved. It's incredible. So I want to hold this so that you can see the cover too. Well, I may not be. It looks like a massive book. It's not that big. It's this big. All right. Prayer is so much more effective than advice. Imagine the conflicts we would avoid if we applied that strategy all the time. Okay, that was the last bit I read yesterday. All right, hold on to your hats. Officially, lesbian relationships are not allowed, but they are condoned. Women in relationships share cells, and it doesn't bother me except that it's unfair to those who don't have access to their male partners. Hello, that's me. There are no conjugal visits here. Yeah, not exactly romantic. And I really, hi Meryl, good to see you. I'll click on that and show. Yay! Hi Meryl, yay, good to see you. Yeah, the concept of conjugal visits, I thought, I was kind of glad that we didn't have any, because I didn't even bring, I took my wedding ring off and my engagement ring off and gave them to my mum before I went to court, because I didn't even want the thought of putting them in a bag and being looked after. I didn't want them tainted by the prison system. I didn't want anything that was precious to me. I didn't want that crossing over. And yes, and when I went to Helena Jones, I did have my application in to get a weekend pass to come home, and that didn't end up happening because I got tipped back to the prison. But if you hang in there, you will find out how that panned out as well, and what I did to get into so much trouble that I got kicked out of minimum and sent back to maximum. Yep, that happened. Can you believe it? Yep, me. Yep. Yeah, I'm so bad. All right. So occasionally, we were talking about lesbians. All right. Occasionally there is lewd behaviour in the yard. And one time, without thinking, I instinctively called out, "Stop that!" They looked at me, gave me a rude gesture, and the other gave me a mouthful of language. And the behaviour would have been just as offensive if they were straight people. It was like, it's in the yard, out in the open. Stop that. And I didn't even think. It was like almost like, it was just instinctive. I was very lucky that that was the only reaction I got. Okay. One could be forgiven for thinking lesbians are a protected species in here. Apparently, a chaplain had been banned for saying homosexuality is a sin. The women complained of discrimination, of course, and I'm saddened by the lack of wisdom on the part of the chaplain. You know, of all the things to mention, these women have way, way more serious problems and things that can be dealt with without getting your nose out of joint over people finding comfort. Anyway, that's that. It's just sometimes you'll preach about things that bother you more than what the situation warrants, whether it's about that or about money or about sex or about whatever. You tend to preach on things that are in your heart. Anyway, I remember years ago, I've been waiting to use this one, but I remember years ago, whenever we had a visiting minister who, I was at a big church, and they were, whenever they'd preach, and if the topic of lust came up, they would always just automatically look to where the youth was sitting. Like the youth, the young adults, lust, young people. Yeah, but it turns out the people with the lust problems were many of their parents. So anyway, that was the 90s. Right, for those of you who remember that embarrassing era. Okay. So these women have much more desperate needs for ministry than being criticised for taking comfort in a miserable environment. Perhaps it bothered him more than it bothered the Lord. I am more bothered if someone is nasty. I don't expect non-Christians to act like Christians. If someone living in a de facto relationship any more godly than a homosexual, I'm talking to my church people here. Is it any more godly? It's just as distant from God. No. What I do know is people either have a relationship with Jesus or they don't. Knowing him helps us make good choices, godly choices, much more so than other people's opinions. Don't get me wrong, people need to be taught right and wrong. However, one revelation from the Lord is a more powerful catalyst for change than the most sophisticated personal development program. And I've seen a lot of personal development programs, professional development, call it what you like. You get one revelation from the Holy Spirit, it changes everything. It changes everything. To be fair, most of the butch lesbian officers are very professional and polite. They don't talk down to us or play mind games. And I'm glad they're good at their job because they seem to represent a large proportion of the staff. I don't know why. Some industries, they just have certain large numbers of certain demographics. It's just, yeah. Admittedly, it's disturbing at strip search time after a visit, but I just close my eyes and think of England, as they say. I can't believe I wrote that. I have been showing different ones how to respond quickly to a setback. When we get bad news, it hurts, but how far that hurt travels into our heart largely depends on how we think about it. I encourage the women to get a hold of God as soon as possible, to pray blessings on the person who has hurt them, and praise God that he is in control. And I still teach that now. I just know that it works. God uses everything to draw people to himself, including, for example, an abusive parent causing trouble for his or her grown daughter's family. I'm fortunate to have caring parents helping Justin take care of our girls. Some women here have dysfunctional parents creating problems for their families, and the women are unable to do anything about it, and it's really frightening. Do you think it's hard for you to pray for someone who has offended you? Imagine growing up in a family where you are not shown love, nothing is forgiven, and everything is avenged. Then being asked to pray a blessing on someone they think insulted them. You think it's hard for you? Imagine growing up like that and then being asked to do that. This is what I was asking of some of these women. And if they can do it, why not you? I was able to chat with a particular chaplain. I've called her Donna here, but it's actually Debbie Glasson, who is a friend of mine on Facebook and many of yours. She's just the most amazing person. But I didn't name her back here because I didn't want her getting in trouble with the prison system. She has a wonderful gift of love. She's respected by the women and is a very effective minister. I would recommend her to speak to any churches about what her job is like. She's amazing. Debbie Glasson, if you see this, you will know I'm talking about you. And if you know her, let her know. Maybe tag her in the chat so she can see it. She can offer keys to helping people who may have been here or might be heading this way. I had the privilege of praying for Donna. I'll call her Debbie now. The words of knowledge and prophecy I had for her really touched her heart and provided answers she was seeking. The irony of a prisoner ministering to a chaplain was not lost on us. Every societal group seems to have its in crowd. Here is no different, and these girls are confident, tough, and they know each other well. One group has a ritual of making a hot chocolate just before lockdown in the evenings. So we have milk, and you can order hot chocolate or chocolate powder on your buy up. So they would make that. They'd save their milk for a hot chocolate. My new cellmate is one of them. And okay, I know who you are. And I can't find you. I'm friends with you on Facebook and I cannot find you anywhere. I hope you're okay. My new cellmate is one of them. She must have told them I was okay because I was invited to join them. The hot chocolate is expensive and must be ordered on our buy-up forms. To have someone offer to make me one from their packet was significant. I was touched, and in an odd way, I felt honoured. It was just lovely. Thank you to those who offered advice on certain types of people. It confirmed I'm doing the right thing by just loving them and sharing Christ's love. The Lord chooses when to work on areas of our lives. Isaiah 58 is very clear that he hates the pointing of the finger among us. So Isaiah 58, it talks about the pointing of the finger and that God hates it. I would love to keep hearing from you either by writing directly or via email back to Justin. So that's what people would do. They would respond to his email out and he would print it out, cut it up and send it to me in a letter. Be blessed. Remember to keep the main thing as the main thing. Trish Jenkins on assignment. Anyway, so that's the end of that letter. Oh, the next one's going to be great. It's about a very scary Indigenous girl who arrived. And of course, I'm clueless, but she was great. That's in my journal notes because what I write here, I couldn't put in letters. So I'm planning to do this 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in Australian time. So keep me accountable. Send me a message and say, hey, Trish, you doing your reading today? And I'll go, oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. All right. Bless you heaps, and I'll see you next time. Oh, hey, hang on. Before I log off, there's Linda. Hey, Coconuts. Good to see you too. All righty. I'm going to click off now, but I will be on again in 2 days. And in between, I might do some other things. All right. Bless you heaps. See you then. Bye.